You are listening to the 2 and Out CFL podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
You know, in one breath, I can be the most kind, jolly person, but in the next...
On air, you are that person. When before and after we record, you are 180 degrees from that.
Grab some poutine and a double-double. It's time for the 2 and Out CFL podcast.
Now they have to kick it out, and they do!
Every week, Travis Currah.
Does anybody still care about this podcast?
And Brazilian Ty.
Hunters are people, too.
Talk fantasy football, bring you the latest in CFL news, and sprinkle in a little bit of nonsense.
Are you kidding? This is unbelievable!
Ready, set, hunt!
And we are part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This episode of 2 and Out is brought to you by ATB Financial, and ATB knows that being an entrepreneur and business owner has its challenges, including finding time to get the help that you need. That's why they've created the ATB Entrepreneur Centers in Edmonton, Calgary, Grand Prairie, and Lethbridge. With new pop-up locations each month, ATB is bringing their 360-degree entrepreneur support services to you. So whether you're dreaming, building, or growing, you can access a powerful set of tools to help your business and personal finances grow together. Visit atbentrepreneur.com to learn more and find out where they're popping up next. I'm Travis Currah. He is Brazilian Ty. And Ty, we just got through just about a week-long cold snap. It's nothing that we haven't seen here in Alberta, but you got...
It was a little early compared to what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, that's true. Like, pretty much all of last February was, 25 below.
Terrible.
Yeah. So you got your tongue stuck to what?
Dear Penthouse. No, okay. So we had to work through the worst part of it, and then they shut us down when it was only like minus 42.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys.
So, it was like minus 48 at one point, and we worked through it. It was just where we were working. We didn't have a choice. We were, I don't know, say 200 meters from the truck, 300 meters from the truck. My assistant was already on his way back. I'd given him the keys. I'm walking back to the truck. I'm not in the greatest shape. I have a dad bod. I'll be the first to admit it. I was breathing heavy, which also means had my mouth open. I was wearing my fire retardant bunny hug, which has a hood on it that's detachable, but it still has drawstrings. And on the end of those drawstrings is a little metal aglet. And it sways as I walk.
Right.
Because I was getting tired and my whole body was like, it was an effort to walk, especially when it was that cold. It swung up and hit me in the lip. I was able to bat it away. Hit me in the chin a couple times. Then I started opening my mouth to breathe, and it landed right on my tongue. Now, I couldn't have done this 1,000 times if I had tried to do it.
Direct shot
right on the side. But it wasn't so it was the right-hand side drawstring that got in my mouth. So it went on the left side, on the left-hand side of my tongue. Right, because it was so long.
Yeah.
So instead of, not overreacting and panicking, because it's like, I've been here before, this is going to suck. Right? Instead of just closing my mouth and letting the heat from my breath kind of
Yeah.
thaw it out, I went to rip it off.
Oh.
And I didn't pull hard enough the first time.
This
so
is like waxing your tongue.
Then I had to do it again. And I pulled harder, and I could feel my tongue stretching.
Oh.
Not as bad as it normally would. Just in that one little spot, and then it came off. And so then I stopped and checked in somebody's truck mirror. I'm like, oh, that's not good. And then I had to deal with that for the rest of the day. I spit blood for half an hour.
Was there a chunk of your tongue on this thing?
There's a little tiny piece, but I don't know if it was tongue or ice. It was so cold you couldn't tell.
I love this.
And I told you that I had a story, but I wasn't going to tell you over text messages. I wanted to hear your genuine reaction.
2
and I have
weeks
not been
ago.
Disappointed. Yeah, I made you sit on it.
Your misery makes me so happy.
I'm so glad that I can do that for you.
In the Huddle with Currah and Ty on the 2 and Out podcast.
You know, in one breath, I can be the most kind, jolly person, but in the next,
on air, you are that person. When before and after we record, you are 180 degrees from that.
No, not quite 180. I'm
179.
All right. At the time of recording, it's not officially announced yet, but reports say that the Argos and the Riders are going to have a touchdown Atlantic. But this one is in Halifax at St. Mary's University on July 25th. I really don't think it's a coincidence that the Riders are involved in this game. I do think that they're relying on the fans to show up, be enthusiastic, and put on a show for the rest of Halifax just to show how fun this game can be and what an enthusiastic CFL fan base looks like.
That and, you know, like you said, they're banking on people coming. Argos have had attendance issues in the past. I'm assuming this is going to be an Argos home game. If I looked at the schedule correctly. So, I mean, you're taking away a gate from an Argos game, but I'm sure that there will be reimbursement. They're going to have to do something for them. And having the Riders come to Halifax to play them just adds money to the gate if, you know, Rider fans travel like they have in the past.
I already looked at direct flights from Calgary. They're about $775.
No,
it's not too bad.
Drive to Edmonton and fly on Swoop, and it'll be like half the price.
Edmonton does not go to Halifax.
Well, you got to stop in Hamilton and then go Hamilton to Halifax.
you connect in Hamilton. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would have to book to Hamilton, and then I'm not booking flights on the podcast. That's stupid. But
This makes for a great episode.
I think they're banking on the Rider fans making this a success to look good to the province of Nova Scotia, to City Council, everyone involved with the Halifax bid.
I mean, the bars will be happy.
Yeah, they will be. The Argos, this is probably one of their biggest gates of the year, other than when the Ticats come to town.
Well, and their season ticket base can just carpool there, right?
Oh God, you said it. You said it. Wow.
I cannot help myself. I'm sorry, but not really.
All right, let's talk about the Grey Cup. Now, I know we're not close to the Bombers winning it in November or Saskatchewan hosting it in November, but another chapter in this trophy's storied history. This thing's been held ransom. It's been broken countless times. I'm pretty sure it's been lost. It's been stolen. There's a team engraved on it that didn't even win the thing. And now...
Wait. Come again?
Do you know that story?
I don't think I do.
Okay, I'm going to read you a story, Brazilian Ty, okay?
Okay.
This is really early 1900s in Grey Cup history. From 1916 to 1918, you know that the Grey Cup was not contested due to World War I. And in the final pre-war season in 1915, the Hamilton Tigers won the Grey Cup again. And at that time, the winning teams were responsible for engraving the trophy, which Earl Grey had donated in 1909. Before heading off to the war, the Hamilton Tigers had the trophy engraved not just for their 1915 win, but their 1908 Dominion Championship. In essence, they awarded themselves the Grey Cup 1 year before it even existed.
That is greasy. And I love it.
And it was not noticed for years, as the Grey Cup was not, as highly prized as it is today. But that's just another chapter in this trophy's history. That's
hilarious.
That. I absolutely love it. But the Grey Cup was recently in a burning hotel in Currah, Ontario.
The home of the Thistles, Kenora, Ontario.
Just absolute madness.
The Blue Bombers are not on the same level as the Washington Capitals when it comes to partying. Ovechkin and Braden Holtby and Tom, those guys absolutely destroyed the summer of, what was that, 2018? 2017? That was their summer. Or 2018, sorry. That was their summer. There was no question about it. The Bombers are doing basically what the Capitals did, but in the CFL. I don't think a team is going to party this hard. Ever again. I don't think it can be done. I think Chris Strevler has out-partied teams on his own.
I guess that fullback John Rush from the Bombers was touring in Kenora.
Why?
And then this hotel fire broke out, and they got the trophy out safely.
Maybe not so little known, but a little fun fact: Kenora is the smallest city to ever win the Stanley Cup as well.
Wow!
And now also, I don't know if they're the only city, but one of the only cities to try to burn the Grey Cup down.
Man, we're just spitting knowledge today.
Oh, well, that's what I'm here for.
How about that WWE belt for the Bombers?
Could they have picked somebody else for that picture, or were they just going full heel turn?
The Raw is going to be in Winnipeg on February 24th. Just imagine Strevler walking down the ramp with that fur coat and aviators.
Oh, that'd be the greatest thing ever.
He would fit right in.
Yeah, he wouldn't be out of place at all.
Oh, and that crowd would just eat it up. I would love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back a couple weeks now.
If they could see it.
Yeah. Why? Because they
don't have power? It'd be pretty dark in the arena. Yeah, it'd be pretty dark.
Wow. Winnipeg, Toronto.
I know.
Next?
I said I was going to stop, but I just can't. I can't. Everybody's going to get one at some point.
We're recapping some news that's gone down in the past couple weeks since we last did an episode. Danny Machocha, the new GM of the Montreal Alouettes, he doesn't really have to move because he's been with the Montreal Carabin for a number of years.
He rebuilt that Carabin program.
He did. That's true.
Basically from the ground up. He obviously can pick. He can obviously sees talent and knows how to do it. Granted, university, it's recruitment, it's not a draft, so it's a little different. But I mean, I still think he's. We'll find out if he's the right guy for the job. I don't think it's a terrible hire at all.
He has quite the job to do. He's going into a contract year for his quarterback, and a lot of players on that team were overpaid because for the past 5 years or so, with the quarterback situation there,
Montreal was far from a destination team.
So if they wanted players, they had to pay them. And
it's just like the Oilers in the NHL. The Browns are going to turn into that in the NFL.
Right.
It's just it's the reality of sports.
And with the rookie salary going up by $10,000 with the CBA, there's probably going to be some tough decisions with that team this offseason.
I think for sure. We're going to see veteran guys get cut, and they're going to have to build from within and find guys in the draft and cheaper options that can plug those holes. Because if they're going to stick with Vernon Adams, he's going to end up getting paid. And that's what we've seen in this league is that the quarterbacks, that's in the NFL too, quarterbacks are the ones that are going to get paid. And you have to have a quarterback you have to have something at quarterback to win a championship.
They've actually also announced their 2020 coaching staff. It does include Baron Miles as the team's DB coach and pass game coordinator. He's done that with Edmonton the past few years, but Edmonton has announced their coaches as well. The Owls, they announced their coaching staff before a general manager was ever hired, so they're still doing things a little bit backwards with that organization.
Well, I think, though, with the coaching staff, I think your head coach is going to have the majority of the influence there.
Yeah, they had to keep Kahari. It's like they had no choice, really.
No, but I mean, like, to hire your assistants, get your coordinators, I mean, it's got to be there's got to be guys that are going to jive with Kahari Jones' scheme and what he wants to do. And, with Bob Slovic there, I mean, you want guys that are going to complement those coaches and to have, Kahari. You see it a lot in the NFL. Like, head coaches are the ones hiring their assistants and their coordinators. Guys follow, like they come with them to other teams when they get a head coaching job. The coordinators will come with them and stuff like that. So I don't know if it's completely backwards. I think if there was a GM there, he would have some say, but I think Kahari Jones is going to have a huge say in his coaching staff.
The Edmonton Eskimos have also announced their coaching staff under Scott Milanovich. AJ Gass sticks around as the special teams coordinator. I think the big one, though, is them bringing in Noel Thorpe as their DC and DB coach.
And to see what he did in Ottawa, and last year's the outlier. Last year, I mean, nothing went right there. But his defenses play physical. They are on the ball. They are after quarterbacks. And that's something that, Edmonton can do, and he kind of fits into that. But there's still that aspect of them giving up big plays through the air. Their DBs need a little bit of help, and I think having Thorpe as a DB coach too will help that. And like I said, his defenses have always played physical, and I think if he can get his DBs to play a little more physical, that'll help them, slow down passing games.
Thorpe had been stuck on some poor teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he did get the most out of his personnel, and I think he's got an all-right situation in Edmonton, although it seems like they're losing some young defensive linemen to the NFL. They've got some Canadian defensive ends. Maybe Betts is going to start opposite of Kwaku Boateng, 2 Canadian defensive ends. That's already got your defense ahead of the game, I think, in Edmonton, if they do that,
Oh, for sure. And that's the big thing. It has to be an if.
The Bombers have announced their coaching staff as well, and probably the worst-kept secret, Buck Pierce has been promoted to offensive coordinator. He's going to be the team's QB coach as well.
Because the Bombers quarterbacks didn't get hit enough last year, because that's all Buck Pierce knows, right?
He might have to suit up, man, at this point, because there's no contracts for any of the Bomber quarterbacks, and free agency is only a few weeks away.
Man, could you imagine if Buck Pierce makes a comeback?
He could be the Reggie Dunlop. I'd be okay with that.
We keep bringing up Reg Dunlop every other episode, and I can't use any of his quotes.
We got an elk on standby.
I'm not doing it.
Pete Constanza will take over as the team's running back coach after spending 12 years in Calgary. So they bring in some experience, a nice coach in Costanza there. So good for Winnipeg for bringing him in. And a little bit of continuity. Buck Pierce has worked with that team for, 6 years or something like that now. He probably doesn't have the same game plan as a LaPolice would have, but he's definitely familiar with the players and the core of that team.
And he's played quarterback in this league. Has played in Winnipeg. Somewhat of a fan favorite when he was there. It doesn't hurt to have a guy that you don't want to bring in Mike Sherman who doesn't know the CFL game. It's nice to be able. It's true, is it not?
It's true.
To be able to promote a guy, and Buck Pierce, like you said, he has been with the team for so long, has paid his dues, has slogged it out in the trenches, and now he gets his shot to move up. It's not a head coaching job, but I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere.
Going to Calgary now, where they've announced their coaching staff, and not a lot of changes. But Marquay McDaniel is one of the highlights. Spent 6 seasons with Calgary, and now he's the new receivers coach. Mm-hmm. I kind of wondered if his time in Calgary altogether was done after his Grey Cup rant.
Yeah. I get it, but I don't know if I'd want to be bringing that into my locker room. But at the same time, we don't know his relationship with the players that are there.
Yeah.
But
you're
it
emotional.
was just a bad look. It was absolutely, and you're getting 20 20 microphones and cameras shoved in your face. I get it. It was just a bad look at the time. And it was something that we were able to make fun of and run with. So thank you. Thank you, Mark Way.
Just like we do, we will beat it with a dead horse for the next 50 years.
You're going to... No, you don't beat it with a dead... You beat a dead horse. You beat a dead horse.
What was I thinking, actually?
I don't know, but have you ever tried to lift up a dead horse to beat somebody with it?
No,
heavy.
but I did watch that new show on History Channel called The Wild Ones. They chase,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
They chase wild horses around in the valley in BC.
Sounds basically like Red Dead Redemption.
And then they train them? Well, I guess. Maybe it is.
I caught up on a million little things, and I finished Chernobyl, so, I mean, I haven't been watching a lot of other stuff.
Nice. Well, Kim's Convenience is back on Tuesday night, so there you go.
Well, obviously.
What I found interesting about Calgary staff is that George Cortez is back in the CFL, this time as an offensive assistant and running backs coach. He was last with the Lions in 2015, of course won the Grey Cup with the Riders in 2013, and then in 14 really was the team's favorite whipping boy. He was the scapegoat for a lot of Rider fans, but I think a lot of that coaching staff was the scapegoat in 2014. God. But this guy's been around the CFL for a long time. Obviously, he knows John Hufnagel, and he was able to bring him back to the CFL. I mean, it's another one of those, I think, low-key important hirings by the Stampeders.
I'm just glad that the Stamps could find a guy to fill a position that, you know, can really help them build a winner, because they need that. I am just in a mood today. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, but your definition of chirping the Stampeders is saying that they're too good. They found another winner.
Yeah, like, woo-hoo.
He did win a Grey Cup in Calgary in 2008 as well, and let's face it, he won there in 2001. He he won there in 1998, and he also won there as an offensive line coach in 1992. So, 4 Grey Cups in Calgary, and he's coming back.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. The Toronto Argonauts have not officially named who their coordinators are going to be, but it looks like Jarius Jackson will man the offense. We've got Glenn Young heading there to be the DC, and Mark Nelson as the special teams coordinator. He's been with Ottawa for quite some time. I don't want to be negative, but I don't know if I have faith with the coaching staff in Toronto.
Oh, man. It's going to start with Ryan Dinwiddie. Obviously, he's the head coach.
He's an unknown.
He's 100% unknown. The one thing he has done has surrounded himself with guys who have been around the league, who have coached in this league, who have been coordinators in this league, and they're older than him. It's not like it's going to be a super young coaching staff.
Right.
So I think that the balance there will help. I just don't know if Dinwiddie would be overwhelmed, but I think having that veteran presence on the coaching staff will help with that. I mean, there's a lot of other problems in Toronto other than their coaching staff. The way that last year went, I don't think there was any option but to revamp the coaching staff, but there's a lot of work on the field that needs to be fixed too. Or a lot of stuff on the field that needs to be fixed.
CFL 2.0 continues to chug along. They actually have already had 3 global combines, and there's a couple that are happening this weekend. We got one in Great Britain on Saturday, then one in Germany on Sunday. There are Canadian kids taking part in these combines, and they've just started off a new partnership with Brazil's Football Federation.
We've been in cohorts with Brazil since like 2015.
I'm still not used to talking about the CFL on a global scale like this, and I like it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's always been our little league that could fit in our back pocket, and these big ideas, I'm down with it.
And with how global they've become, or trying to reach different global markets, I still don't think that the domestic market in Canada has suffered from it.
No, I can't really see.
They're not spreading themselves so thin that it doesn't work.
There are people complaining that, you got to get Halifax and Ambrosie's got to do more, but he's really a business guy. He can't do everything. There's a lot of stuff that he doesn't have control over that people think he does.
There is powers that are bigger than Ambrosie that have a lot more to do with Halifax than he does.
Right.
He can only push the envelope so far before it's in somebody else's hands, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah, you can only do so much. So I admire the new ideas because it's something different, and they're trying something different, bringing new revenue streams to the Red Deer or to the league. Where
you were going to say Red Deer, weren't you?
I did. I would love a team in Red Deer, man.
You're getting one.
Oh yeah.
Granted, it's like the worst team in the AJHL. That's not Lloydminster, but you're still getting a team.
That's going to be rough. I don't know how I can watch handling bad hockey for more than a year, but
a year?
You're an Oiler fan. Sorry, I forgot.
Dude, since RBC Cup, the Bobcats have won like 10 games. And that was 4 years ago.
But new revenue streams to a league when pro sports leagues in general, they're struggling getting bums in seats and eyes on TVs. So I'm okay with it.
No, I have yet to see the detriment. The only thing that I don't like, and I know it's going to sound contradictory, because we have the Canadian ratio, but is forcing teams to have the global spots.
True, yeah.
Because what if those players are not good enough?
True.
And taking, there's that aspect of it, but the idea is, I totally understand it, and I support it, because, it can't hurt to have the opportunity to bring in more revenue streams, which in turn helps the game. If teams can make money and keep their heads above water, the game is going to succeed tenfold.
We're going to get to some player transactions right away, but if you're looking at making a career change, you've been working for a little while, you don't want to work in minus 48 and have metal things stick to your tongue, check out Norquest College.
Your next career move is right around the corner, and Norquest College is here to help. Our new Career Moves professional development program will help you transition to new job opportunities. Funded by the Future Skills Center, we will provide one-on-one coaching, self-assessments, skill development and training, and up to $2,000 in available tuition credit. Our focus is your success. Make your next move. Apply today at norquest.ca/career moves.
All right, and let's start with the BC Lions here. Where last year, I think, other than the offensive line, the next biggest issue was probably the pass rush. And they just...
Wait. BC had a pass rush last year?
That's a good point.
You do know that when the other team's actually quarterback, that doesn't count to your stats.
That's a really good point. But I thought Jonathan Newsom looked good at times in BC. They've assigned him to a one-year deal. And the pass rush looked way better when Sean Lemon made his return to BC. He is a free agent right now, so who knows if he's going to continue playing for the Lions next year. But Newsom being locked up is probably a good idea for the Lions.
Oh, I don't see the bad part of this signing. Considering what happened to that team last year, maybe not anything, but it's not going to take much to be an improvement as to what they had.
Some more players have been released to pursue NFL opportunities. The Eskimos released Kendall Vickers, young defensive lineman. The Stampeders released defensive back Deshaun Amos. Tiger Cats released Liram Hairelahu. And as for Trey Roberson, he's had 18 workouts. He
Hashtag free Trey.
He might be able to choose from a number of NFL teams where he wants to play next year.
Oh, I hope he's a Steeler.
Get that jersey if he signs.
100%. It'll go right next to my Casey Hampton jersey, who played nose tackle. So me wearing that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's like me wearing the Chris Getzlaff jersey back in the day.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. I have a Milan Lucic jersey.
Oilers?
I don't know why. I don't want to talk about it.
What is with your jersey purchases?
Dude, if you saw, I'm gonna send you a picture of my walk-in closet, and you will be amazed at what I have in there.
I can't wait to see this.
Like, there is a Matt Ryan jersey, a Shaquille O'Neal Heat jersey, the old Buffa Slug, the Buffalo Sabres jersey, white,
Wow.
the away one. Yeah, I've made some bad life choices.
The Stampeders have signed defensive lineman Mike Rose through 2021. Defensive line was a big concern at the beginning of last year for the Stampeders. Rose had spent a couple years there, full-time starter last year, made a bit of an impact, earned himself a new deal with the Stampeders. Mm-hmm. It seems like...
I mean, there was a hole left, and you know, everybody was worried about it, and that D-line showed up.
They did. They couldn't stop the run as the season started, but it turned around as it went on.
It was like BC's O-line, right? They were able to turn it around and you know, play considerably better.
The Riders, another defensive lineman, have signed A.C. Leonard to a 2-year deal. He finished last year really strong in Saskatchewan, and they have signed the long snapper Jorgen Hoos to an extension.
So good.
The Bombers lock up defensive back Nick Taylor, who his play in the fall last year really earned him another deal, and offensive lineman Stanley Bryant. So they keep that offensive tackle tandem of Jamarcus Hardrick and Stanley Bryant in Winnipeg. Now it's getting really interesting as to what they're going to do at quarterback. There has been talk that the Bombers are focusing on bringing in Zach Collaros again. Chris Streveler has an NFL workout, and Matt Nichols sees the Collaros news and is not happy. He's convinced that his recovery is going well and he will be ready for training camp.
He's not only unhappy that they brought Collaros, well, I mean, I'm sure he's happy for Zach, but I mean, you know, he feels like it's his job. He's also pissed off that people are commenting and reporting on his injury, and they're not even talking to him about it.
Right.
And I think that was a big issue. He's like, if you guys want to know, ask me, because what you guys are saying has no bearing, and it's not even true. So I kind of chuckled at that, but at the same time, I'm like, haha, you just thought he's out. I think he's out.
I know that Nichols, he doesn't have the head injuries that Zach Collaros has, but is he almost in the same category?
He's like Larry Walker. Shout out, Hall of Famer. But he misses so many games. Yeah, and it's not head injuries, thank God.
I know,
but it's still injuries that are nagging, and it seems to always hit like at the most inopportune of times. It worked out this year; they won a Grey Cup, but it's not gonna, like 90% of the time, it's not gonna work out that way. And you know, if you're gonna pay a guy to sit on your injured reserve, you know, that's a hard pill to swallow.
From 2016 to 2018 in Winnipeg, he did play, 51 games. He only missed a few, but he missed half the year last year with an injury you don't want to have as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And he turns 33 in March.
And the no contact injury last year, or 2 seasons ago, in training camp.
Yeah.
For me, that's a red flag.
I guess that one sort of affected his beginning of the season, missing training camp, and he didn't miss a lot of games, but when he got in, he wasn't himself.
No.
He does protect the ball for the most part, but that year when he came back from the knee injury and he had 18 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. Last year was better, 15 TDs to 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
But with a team that runs the ball that much, that's really, you just don't turn the ball over, and that's a successful day for Matt Nichols. But I don't know. Do they want to keep going with the quarterback tandem of Streveler and Collaros? It kind of seems that way.
I think if they have the opportunity to do it, if Streveler doesn't get an offer or anything in the NFL, I think that's what that's what I would want to do. No slight against Matt Nichols and his ability, but I mean it worked. You got to give teams 2 different things to game plan for, and Matt Nichols can go and start in Toronto because they need a starter.
Well, let's talk about Ottawa here, where they extend Sherrod Baltimore, Anthony Goslin, and Avery Ellis. And Nick Arbuckle went there for a tour earlier this week just to look at the facilities, the city, things like that. But contract negotiations have not started between Ottawa and Arbuckle yet.
Free agency starts in 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
February 11th. I don't know if I feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I would probably start discussing that sooner rather than later.
I don't know what his demands are or what his agent's demands are anyway, but
yeah,
things are going to get figured out quickly into free agency. Last year, we thought that there would be some delays with the CBA. That didn't happen, and now
#tampering.
They've already sort of restructured Bo Levi's contract because of the amount of money he got paid and the salary cap not moving much. But Toronto and Ottawa need to lock up what's happening under center. So Ottawa,
I honestly don't think Toronto knows.
Maybe they just get Collaros or Matt Nichols. Who knows? Or Arbuckle.
Or
Maybe
Dinwiddie.
he doesn't sign. I can't really remember the last
Dinwiddie.
time a team traded for someone's rights and didn't sign him, but that would not be good for the Red Blacks.
Yeah, that's my move on NHL 20, where I sign an RFA or trade for an RFA who's not in the league, and then I just let him walk.
Why?
Well, because it's deadline day, and I'm like, ooh, this is a good ad. And then I'm like, oh, he's not under contract. Great, and I can't sign him because it's after December 1st. Really glad I gave up a first-round pick. No, I'm the worst armchair GM.
The Ticats have locked up some really key Canadians in Ted Laurent, Tunde Adeleke, and Kay Okafor on the offensive lineman. You need Canadians to win, and that is one of the reasons why they dominated the East and were in the Grey Cup last year.
100%. Ted Laurent is a force on that D line. Tunde Adeleke in the secondary. He's not as good as Taylor Loeffler because nobody is, but I mean he's damn good back there. And like you said, you have to have these Canadians if you can get them at positions where they're not traditionally at, and it lets you start an American somewhere else. At maybe I shouldn't say more important position, but a more impactful position. It's such a trickle-down effect for your roster. And like you said, that it was a big reason why they won 15 games and why they were in the Grey Cup.
If the Argos are going to have 9 quarterbacks in camp, I think they're going to have 45 DBs in training camp. They are just bringing in every DB left and right, and they want to make things happen because that secondary was pretty rough last year. Shaq Richardson has been signed to an extension, and Stanley, tell me, Brazilian Ty, don't leave me hanging here.
Am I supposed to know?
Yes.
I'm going to assume it's Jean.
Really? But is that because we're Canadian?
Well, where's he from?
He's an American.
Okay, but where?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to look it up because that'll give us a quick answer. Well, I don't know about quick, but
Stanley Jean-Baptiste. That's what I'm guessing. But they have signed him through 2022.
Well, he was born in Miami, so I don't know how French he would be, but he was drafted by the Saints, so we'll say he's Cajun.
Okay, there we go. He spent some time in the National Football League.
Oh, his parents are Haitian immigrants, so he is French.
Okay, there we go. I said it right. 6'3", 216 pounds. And they gave him a nice little deal here, so they're banking on him making an impact in that Argos secondary, and they need him to do it.
Absolutely, they need him to do it, and I don't think it's going to take much for him to make an impact, considering what they did last year on the defensive side of the ball.
The Owls have made a couple extensions. Returner Mario Alford, who had some electric returns last year, and Canadian receiver Chris Osikusi. He was just drafted not too long ago. But an interesting note, receiver TJ...
he was drafted in 18. Or, no, this spring.
Yeah, there we
drafted
go.
in 2019.
That's not too long ago. And... NFL receiver TJ Jones is seriously considering coming to the CFL. If he does, that could be a guy to watch next year right from the start if he goes through an entire training camp and everything.
Until you realize that he played for the Detroit Lions and the New York Giants. But, I mean, 67 receptions, just under 1,000 yards at 852, 5 touchdowns. Added in some return yards there, 560. So it's not terrible. Being a Canadian, he does add that to a roster as well. 6 feet, 190, not the biggest guy, but, could definitely... He obviously has the skill, and just can't find a spot in the NFL. So, like you said, be a guy to watch for sure.
Rest in peace, Terry Jones. Rest in peace, Neil Peart. It's the 2-and-Out CFL podcast, a part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. If you need any tickets, hit seatgiant.ca. There's that new tour going across Canada this summer. Big Wreck, Tea Party, Moist, the Headstones. It's a 90s Canadian rock and roll royalty there. Almost the Mount Rushmore of 90s Canadian rock. And
if you don't like Hugh Dillon, just get out.
I would agree with that.
The man is a national treasure. Have you seen Flashpoint?
I back you up on that statement, man. There are going to be tickets to those shows popping up on Seat Giant. There's hockey tickets. CFL tickets will pop up there soon enough as we get ready for the season. SeatGiant.ca, all the money's in Canadian dollars. And promo code APN is going to save you 5% and support the Alberta Podcast Network in the process. This will be our last podcast of January. We'll be back in February with free agency starting on February 11th. So plenty to talk about in the coming weeks. It just does not stop in the Canadian Football League.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.